Hey there, YouTube. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. I've had several things going on that have slowed down the progress, but you know how life is. But today I'm working on the engine mount, and you can see here I have a mock-up of trying to figure out exactly how everything's going to go. And we'll get over here a little bit closer. I'm using some right angle material. I forget exactly what that's called, but just got a bunch of holes in it, been at 90-degree angle, and I'm trying to figure out exactly the height that I need, and trying to get an idea of how close I can get to the aluminum, because this thing gets red hot, and heat is going to be a problem with the aluminum. The angle is galvanized steel, and it's going to conduct heat pretty good. But no, that is not the permanent rear engine mount. That is just something I've got there to get an idea of how high the engine is. I don't seem to have a lot of room for the tank, propane tank there. Like I said, we're getting into the so-called the devil is in the details, getting everything lined up properly. I'm thinking about raising the engine a couple of inches. Really, ideally, center line thrust would be that location that you see right there, which is just slightly above the center of my back. But since this is not an aircraft, center line thrust will not necessarily be an issue. More concerned with heat and trying to avoid as much heat shielding as I possibly can. But that's where we stand there. I do have some parts ordered. I did order the wrong stainless steel tubing, so I've got to reorder that. I ordered 1/8 inch instead of 1/4 inch. My bad, but you know, stuff happens. So just a quick video to show you that we are making progress, albeit very slow progress, but progress is progress nonetheless. And I've taken the tubing off the front where I had my footrests, and I'm going to be putting a piece of aluminum plate. Excuse the odd camera angle. I'm going to be mounting that flat on the front. That'll give me a place to mount my brake pedal, also a better footrest, and also give me some guard against my heel being caught as the axle swivels, since we're using old school soapbox derby type racer cable steering. But anyway, that's where we're at today. I did finally decide on material for the chair, and I found some extra heavy duty lawn chair webbing that just happens to have a stripe that's the same color as the frame, orange. So I've decided to use that for the chair. You know, if I have to change it every year or twice a year, you're only talking just a few dollars for this stuff, and it's plenty strong. I'm going to weave it in very tightly, and instead of using the well, if I can find them here. There they are. Instead of using the old fold over and put a screw through method, I found these metal attachments that you fold the webbing over a few times, and you put it in this, and then you clamp it down, and it has 4 piercing teeth that go through those holes, and then 1 hole for the screw. So I'm hoping that that will be more solid than the double fold and 1 screw just directly through the material. Of course, as lawn chairs go, I'm a big boy and I've bounced around in them, and they've held up amazingly well. So this may be overkill, but what the heck, that wasn't that expensive either. So I'm making progress. I have some more bolts ordered. I've not been doing any work on the brakes or the steering because I've been concentrating all my efforts on this engine mount and figuring out where the fuel solenoid's going to go. I'm planning on mounting a plate right here and putting the 2 fuel control solenoids, the idle and power solenoid, and then they'll be operated on 12 volts. I'm going to have a small sealed 12 volt battery and a switch that I'm thinking about putting a push button on the steering wheel so that when I flip the main power on, after I've turned on the ignition, flip on the main power, that will light off the idle, and then have a relay that when I push the button on the steering wheel, it drops out the idle solenoid at the same time engaging the fuel solenoid. So I'll have a idle full power situation set up, and then when I release the button, well, it'll go back to idle power. Since this engine, it is throttleable to an extent, but requires a complicated and expensive control valve system in order to do that on liquid propane. Now, if I was running kerosene, diesel, or gasoline, it would be easier. I could use a fuel pump and a speed controller. But like I said, this is my first effort. This is a prototype. I'm using this as a learning experience to get an idea of how things work, should work, will work, and don't work. And then after this one, my next project, I hope to use a 100-pound thrust valved engine, Hurricane 100. Or I could, I don't have room on this thing unless I side mount them, but that would be a frightening sight. Have 2 of these engines side by side on the back. That would give me 100 pounds of thrust, but I'd rather go with just a single engine, and it's a little bit not smaller. It's about the same size but a little larger in diameter. The valved type engine also has additional maintenance because of the reed valves. But that's where we're at. So sorry for our long installments. I'll get this done, and when I do, I'll post another one. So thanks for being patient, and thanks for watching, and talk to you later.